Good morning and welcome to Unity on the Mountain. We're going to go ahead and stand up and we're going to open up our service with My Soul is Welcome Here. All right, I go. I'm going to be touching the ground. Okay. I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting a message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting a message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting a message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting a message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My favorite part. My soul is welcome here. 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 One more time through. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. Do you feel that? Are you welcome? Welcome each other. Say good morning, shaking hands, say namaste. Good morning.
So Francis power is spouse came back
And isn't that just how it is in life? many times we can't recognize that Christ within ourselves, and we need somebody else to help us. Let us now share our vision and mission statement.
Centered in God, we inspire spiritual transformation, creating a world of love, peace, and prosperity. We are an inclusive spiritual community, inspiring, awakening, and serving in love.
Now it's time for our children's blessing, and we have a little child here.
Lucy is graciously babysitting. Not only is she an amazing wedding planner, by the way, but she also babysits. So. She's amazing.
She is amazing. So we don't have any children here, but we do have our young man, Desmond. Thank you for helping with our babies. And
He is around somewhere then.
oh, and here's another. So let's think about these children and the many children around the world who need our love and blessing. Let's say together.
We love you, we bless you, we behold Christ in you. We accept you just the way you are. Walk in beauty, you are divine.
All right, we're going to go and stand up and sing another song. It's very flowy. It's Pour Over Me, Holy Spirit. If you haven't heard it, it's Sue Riley. And she's just one of the most but she's an amazing lyricist. So I'll guide you through it. It's very repetitive. Help me know how to let
to let you know, if ever you have a prayer request, just please put it in the box in the back, and we're very happy to pray for your request.
And as we focus our energy at this moment on all of the requests that are in this box, also know that there are many, many more requests that are in our hearts that will never get written down. So we pay attention. We know. We open ourselves to that divine spirit, that divine energy. Healing what needs to be healed. Just breathe that in. Healing what needs to be healed within my own soul, within the lives of all those that are represented here. We know as we open, as we ask, as we allow and accept that divine Holy Spirit pouring in and through us, we are answered. And for this, we give our grateful thanks. And so it is. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Carol. Dee, can you come forward and share our daily word?
The Daily Word, March 13th, 2016. Protected. God is with me wherever I go. I feel safe and secure. Children who are afraid of the dark seek reassurance from a parent or a loved one. Once the light is on and loving arms are enfolding them, they feel safe and secure. The same is true for us. When we feel surrounded by darkness, that there is no one to whom we can turn, we can see, then find reassurance from the divine. God is there with us. God is always with us. The darkness of doubt is quickly dispelled by the all-illuminating light of God when we affirm. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. God's light has the power to transform any challenge into an opportunity for growth. We know we have nothing to fear. Divine presence is with us and within us wherever we go. We are safe and secure. Who is a rock besides our God? Psalm 18:31.
Thank you. And now as we remember how God's love is enfolding us, let us say together the Lord's Prayer. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
and now I'd like to introduce our speaker, Wanda. You can do that one.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to be here again. I love this energy when I walk in here. There's a sweetness here. You guys know it, right?
Yes.
There's sweetness. So just in this moment, if you would, close your eyes. Put some attention to the bottoms of your feet. Feel the solidity of the earth underneath us. Notice your hands, your face, the top of your head. And kind of pull your awareness to the physical body. Feeling some gratitude that we are here on this planet in this time. And we are alive. And the heart swells if you pay attention as you feel gratitude for the divine nature that allows us to be here, to live and move and have our being in that divinity. Take a deep breath and speak up?
Yeah.
Okay, will do. They asked me, did I want a microphone, and I said no, so I'll speak up. Thank you. Prove it to it. Okay, can everybody hear me if I speak at this point?
Yes. Very
Okay. I do tend to get softer when I do lead a meditation, and I need to remember that for people who are sitting on the back row. So the topic for today is journey into fearlessness. So I'm going to invite you to take 3 steps with me today to go out of fear and into fearlessness. But first I want to know, is there anybody here who has never felt fear? I didn't think so. I thought there might be a few other humans in here besides me. So last month I spent the entire month of February in Savannah, Georgia. I spent 2 weeks of that, a little over 2 weeks of that, by myself in a little apartment on the edge of the historic district. And I learned a lot about fear because we were warned when we got there that this little apartment sits right on the edge of civilization and chaos, meaning the other side of town. We really don't want to venture off by yourself, especially if you're a lady. So I had many opportunities to talk to myself about that, to pray about that, to open myself to, okay, so maybe I'm a little fearful here. Now, why is that? So I had a lot of opportunity to dig in, to keep digging in, to keep digging in. So I'll just tell you a little brief thing that happened right off the bat. As soon as I took Mike to pick up the rental car, because he was coming back to Huntsville for a couple of weeks, I got up the next morning. I was going to drive to, I don't know where, but anyway, the first thing that happened was a block and a half into the other district, I found that I had a flat tire. I mean, really flat.
Oh, wow.
And I took a deep breath and said, okay, well, I guess I'm getting a chance to face my fear here. So to make the story not quite so long, I got out, I found a boarded up house, and then around the corner from there, I found an office where there actually was a person, and she had this big ring of keys, but I couldn't get in because all the doors were locked. Well, I finally got her to open the door, and she opened it about like this. I guess I must have looked like a shady character. So she said, what is it? And I said, I have a flat tire right over here in this empty parking lot. Well, I can't help you. Maybe you'll go across the street, maybe Tim can help you. Okay, so I go across the street, Tim's not there. So there's this wonderful man who said, well, I can change a tire. I'll be glad to help you. So he comes over, and to make a long story short, a lot of things didn't work out like they were supposed to, but he told me about a place a block and a half further into the other district where I could get a new tire, because I needed a new tire, and I had put new tires on, so this had to be some kind of fate, I think. I met about half a dozen amazingly wonderful people that day, and I learned right away that I really don't have to fear, because people are going to come to me who we have a resonance with. So at least I thought I learned it. Well, I'm not going to tell you all the fears that came up, but I want to tell you the story about a woman with no fear. Has anybody heard of Driving Miss Norma? You can check her out on Facebook if you're a Facebook person. She has a page. Well, Miss Norma is 90 years old. She and Leo were married for 67 years when Leo ended up in hospice, and they ran assisted living, and she stayed with him day and night. And about 2 days before he passed, she learned that she had cancer and that maybe she didn't have a lot of time left. But he passed in 2 days, so she didn't have time to go back and talk about the alternatives and the treatments and all of that. But 2 days after they buried him, she went back to the doctor with her son and her daughter-in-law, and the doctor began to explain all of the options that you have to heal this cancer. And she looked at him, and I could almost see her in I have seen pictures of her, but I could see the little sparkle in her eye. And she says, no, Doc, I'm not doing any of that. You see, there's a lot of things that I haven't done yet that I wanted to do, and I'm going to go do them. And you know what the doctor said? Some doctors would say, oh, no. What did he say? He said, right on, woman, go. So at the age of 90, they go off in an RV. The first thing is a hot air balloon. She travels to Mount Rushmore, to Yellowstone Park, to the Grand Canyon, Savannah, Georgia, as a matter of fact. I learned about her while I was in Savannah. And as far as I know, she's still traveling. I can't find any sign that she's not around still. So I thought to myself, now why does it matter if she's 90? Why can't we choose to not have fear about anything and make our own decisions? And like the woman who was 29, who was diagnosed with a brain tumor, who said, no, I'm not going to go through all of that chemotherapy and all of that. And she chose to end her own life in her own way, in her own time. So a lot of us would be fearful about that. A lot of us were fearful for that, as a matter of fact. But you know what? I came to another conclusion once again, and I know I've probably told you guys this before, but I have a little formula that reminds me that I am a human being. And human beings do what human beings do, and we feel fear. So our first thing is to be aware of when we feel it. That's step number one. Acknowledge it and be present with it. Step number two is to be with it, to presence yourself with it, to be willing to presence the fear when you have it. And then from there, we'll take another step later on, but right now, I want to talk about my little formula to remind me that I'm human. This is scientific deductive reasoning, by the way. I learned that when you speak to engineers, which there's a lot of them in Huntsville, you have to talk their language. So scientific deductive reasoning says, human beings, it's 3 facts and a conclusion if you don't remember that. Human beings make mistakes. I am a human being. I make mistakes. Therefore, I am a perfect human being. So I remember that. When I have fear, I remind myself, okay, I'm human. I'm going to have the fear. But I don't have to stay in it. I don't have to wallow in it. I can remind myself that all humans have it. So as I was looking at this human thing, I thought, well, I know that all other humans have it. As a matter of fact, I have a psychotherapist friend who has, I forgot how many, I think it's 13 what she calls core fears, that all humans, most of us have one that's primary, but we all have different ones, but we have the same ones. We have the capability of having the same ones for sure. So I remembered about the Enneagram. Any of you familiar with the Enneagram?
Heard of it.
A little bit. Well, me too, a little bit, but I studied a little more. And I want to share a little bit of that. And the main thing to remember about the Enneagram is it's a tool, like any other tool. It's just a little bit of acknowledging, looking at yourself, observing yourself, which is what we do with our willingness to be present with whatever the feelings are, because we have other feelings too. It's just that fear is my topic today. So there are 9 Enneagram types, and the premise is that every human fits into one of these 9 things. Now, not totally, because we're not trying to box anybody in. We're just trying to give an awareness of this is what it means to be a human being. That we all have our version of being a human being. We're all unique, but we also share a lot of common characteristics. So I'm going to run through the 9 in just a real brief explanation, and the basic fear that goes with each one. And it's interesting to me because I also chose, somebody decided to sit down and go back through history and peg people in what kind of category they are. So I'm giving you one example of hopefully well-known people in each category today. And then there's just one more thing that I ran across while I was doing that was so impactful to me that I decided I'd share that too. And there's a propensity for a certain type of addiction if you're a certain type of person. So as I give you these little examples, just in your own mind what you do know about this person that is recognizable, can you see them fitting this category? Now, not totally, but can you see the big picture of it? Number 1, the reformer. The basic fear is of being corrupt, being evil, or defective. Guess who? Nelson Mandela. The addiction potential is perfection. Now, I don't know anybody who's a perfectionist in this room, do you? Number 2, the helper. The basic fear is of being unwanted and unworthy of being loved. Mother Teresa.
The addiction, guess what? Service. Can you see that so easily? By the way, before I go any further, I just want to say something my friend Virginia reminded me about. She said, I know that if I could read about me in a book, it's not real. Because the real me cannot be captured and put into a book. So just keep in mind, this is a tool just to notice yourself. Number 3, the achiever. Their basic fear is of being worthless. Oprah Winfrey. And I'm sure Oprah Winfrey's probably taken this. And the addiction potential is efficiency. You can see that in Oprah, those of you who know about her. Number 4, the individualist. The basic fear is no identity or personal significance. Prince Charles. The addiction is elitism. I just love this stuff. It's just, to me, it's just so obvious. Number 5, the investigator. The basic fear is being useless, helpless, or incapable. Stephen Hawking. The addiction is knowledge. Number 6, the loyalist. Basic fear is being without support, guidance. Ellen DeGeneres. The addictive potential of security. 7, the enthusiast. Being deprived and in pain is the basic fear. Leonardo da Vinci. Now, I don't think he probably took this instrument, but somebody was able to look at the imprint that he made on the planet and peg him. The addiction potential is idealism. Have you ever been to the Sistine Chapel? Can you just not see idealism everywhere in the things that he produced? Number 8, the challenger. Their basic fear is of being harmed or controlled by others. Fidel Castro. The addiction potential is arrogance and justice. And number 9, not the least, but maybe for me one of the more important ones, and you can get real complicated if you go into the Enneagram a lot, but number 9 is my wing, for those of you who have any awareness. So I'm a number 1 with a number 9 wing. The peacemaker. And the basic fear is of loss or separation. And the addiction potential is indecision. Can you see Abraham Lincoln in that? Mm-hmm. So somebody identified these historic people as fitting into these categories. And I just find it fascinating. But the tools are there to point the way for us to see who we really are, more so. And the way we see who we really are is by identifying that we don't have to be what this book tells us we have the potential to be. Because our potential is so much greater. We're not limited by a book that says you must fit this description, even though there's a lot of me that fits those descriptions. So I wanted to, one of the Bible verses that always comes to me in one of those fearful situations is, I think I learned it when I was maybe 11 or 12 years old. And it's Philippians 4:13 that says, I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me. Now, when I was that age, I didn't understand the great vastness of what Christ really is. But it gave me something to hold on to, that I don't have to struggle on my own all the time, that I can turn it over to some higher power. So I have this book that I shared. It's about to fall apart. The Holy Spirit's interpretation of the New Testament. And the reason I like this is because it gives a metaphysical explanation for what the Scripture says. So, thinking back on my Philippians 4:13, I thought, well, I wonder what the metaphysical part would say. So I have to confess that when I got in here, I'm going to read the up through verse 13 or 14. And so just, if you would, just let these words fall and see how it feels. I'm not asking you to believe it just because I'm giving it to you, but just see how it feels to you. Empty your mind now of all you thought was true. Accept the grace and peace of God as your true inheritance. I pray for you means I know who you are, and I know who I am, and I know what we are together. I pray for you means I know we are not separate, but connected through God, which is mind and spirit. I pray for you means I recognize our oneness, and I recognize that as I ask for you, I too shall receive. I pray for you as a statement of faith that all you see and sense and experience is not all there is.
It is a statement of realization that effect is the result of intent, and intent can be affected by you. There are no chains on mind or spirit, therefore there is nothing to fear, and likewise there are no limits. You have been told that the world is not real, and you are in the process of creation, and you are the process of creation that is God. Now it is time to put the two together through practice, and I have come to teach you that there are no limits on who you are. So step 3 in this journey into fearlessness is practice. Number 1 is awareness. Number 2 is the willingness to be present with whatever comes up. And the third one is to practice. And believe you me, I got lots of practice in Savannah. Because somebody planted, and I let myself listen to somebody else rather than use my own awareness. So I will give you one example. Mike was here in Huntsville or somewhere. I was in Savannah. There was an art show, a reception opening art show at the big Jackson Center Museum there. And I really, really wanted to go. So I thought, okay, I'm going. So then I'm facing my fear, but I'm feeling a little bit of fear. So I said, I'm going. Now, how am I going to do it? Because it's at nighttime and I'm not supposed to walk after dark in this neighborhood. Well, I went to the museum. Now, here's my intention that affects the result. I went to the museum. I bought a ticket. And I said, I know that I'm not supposed to walk after dark being a woman by myself, because Savannah has the biggest record of crime in the state of Georgia. They use that for emphasis to get you more scared, right? And this sweet young woman says, well, you know, you don't have to walk here. We have pedicabs. Well, I hadn't thought about somebody else. I mean, driving was not an option for me at night in that little closed space and trying to find a parking place. It just wasn't an option because I have a little eye condition and I know better than to go exploring in a strange neighborhood trying to find a parking place when there's hordes of people. So she gave me a little card. I called this young man. His name was Sean. And I told him I wanted to go at what time and I wanted to come back at what time and how much would that cost. And he said, oh, you don't know? It's a tip and trip adventure. So you pay me whatever you think it's worth. What a deal. So if I had tried all on my own to figure it out, I would have probably ended up, who knows what would have ended up. But I tried to just focus with my intention that this is something I want to do. It's nighttime. I want to do it anyway. I don't want to be fearful, but I don't want to do something risky that's not reasonable and prudent. I mean, you know, who knows? So that was just one good story to tell to emphasize that we're in charge of what happens to us ultimately and how we carry our awareness. Are we present? Now, if I was really, really brave, I might have even walked it, actually. It was about 12 blocks, maybe 14. And if I'd really, really been brave, and I really, really wanted to adhere to this scripture, I said, okay, I'm walking. I'm just not going to pay any attention. But you know what? I would have been like this, probably. You know, is there somebody behind me? Is there somebody behind the bush? You know, and I thought that's not a good way. The best way is to just turn it over and see what unfolds. So I did that. That little prayer of I can do all things through Christ which strengtheneth me. We're talking big picture. We're talking beyond human. And who am I to say that I need to stay in the house and be fearful all the time? I'd like to, just for step 2, I'd like to read you a little Rumi poem. You've probably heard it. I would be surprised if you hadn't heard it, but it came to me many times while I was experiencing all these different emotions. And it's the guest house. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Because most of us don't wake up in the morning knowing how our day is going to go and how we're going to feel today. We learn to flow with that. Welcome and entertain them all.
Even if there are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of all its furniture, still treat each guest honorably. He may be cleaning you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. So as I contemplated that in relation to my own life and my own experiences, I thought, you know, I must have been in my 40s before I started facing instead of pushing it down. Trying to get it, just if I don't pay attention to it, it'll go away, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't go away, you know what? It gets stuck inside. And once it gets stuck inside, you get paralyzed. And if you get fear with all that that's stuck inside, you get even more paralyzed. And so I just learned that it's so easy. Well, I shouldn't say it's so easy. It's so simple
Yes.
to just take a breath and say, oh, here's a flat tire in this bad neighborhood. Okay. Oh, I hit a curb. I almost wrecked my car. See how much easier life can be when we don't try to push it aside. Now, one of my mentors uses the story about, and you may have heard this, about have you ever been in a pool, swimming pool, or in the ocean with a beach ball? And have you ever tried to push it down under the water and hold it there? How much energy does it take to hold it there? When if you just let it go, you're free to swim about. So think about that as a metaphor for life. If we just relax into whatever it is and know that we're not alone in this, Holy Spirit's here, Christ consciousness is here, and we're here. It sounds like there's a whole bunch of us, but really there's only one here, and it's all of us. And in that place, we remember we're never alone. And we always can call on that something that's stronger than we are, that's available all the time. And all we have to do is invite it in. And here it is. So practice the presence of it and process as it comes up and be with it. And guess what? It becomes a friend. I remember back in my early 12-step days, I was complaining about somebody who had wronged me. And I had a friend who was trying to coach me, and he said, you know, I guess you think that person's unlike you. And so that was the first time. And then he said, every time after that I would say anything that I felt like it was somebody that he said, you know, it's unlike you, right? And then he just shortened it to, unlike you, of course. So I'll tell you one more Savannah story. I was, one day, the weather was beautiful. I spent a lot of time in the big Forsyth Park, because it was just down about 3 blocks from where I stayed. And I saw one day, there were several homeless people. I didn't see until the last day there, just a note of interest. I really didn't mean to say this, but anyway, in the park, there is a sign that says something like, if you are approached for solicitation, call 911. And so I was glad I didn't see it before that, because I would have been a little more scared than I was probably. But anyway, I saw this man one day. He was pushing an empty grocery cart, and he passed me as I was sitting on a bench, and he went to another bench and he sat down, and I went to another bench later and I sat down, and I didn't see him anymore for a little while. But when I got ready to go home, he had gone down another block, and he was sitting on the steps of one of the big mansions there, still with his little grocery cart there. And I thought to myself, should I speak to him? Probably I should, but I don't think I will, because I've learned already in the parks that if you speak to them, that opens up the door for solicitations, and I don't even call 911. Anyway, as I walked past him, I was looking at, and I truly was admiring the trees and the clouds, because the trees are just magnificent. But as I walked past him, I just made a point to look the other way and look up at the trees and the clouds, which I've been doing all afternoon anyway. And as I passed him, I heard him stand up and start pushing his cart behind me. So I get to the corner, which is just catty corner, another half block to where I'm staying, and I cross catty corner across the street, and the buggy speeds up, and I speed up, and I finally just speeded up enough that I got in the door, and I go, phew. He came and stood outside in the street outside my little apartment there for a long time. And I was telling this story about, see, I was giving myself credit, my little human ego was giving myself credit for, okay, my intelligence knew that this guy might be up to no good, and I just was not going to engage him. So I was telling this to one of my spiritual friends. She said, what I hear is you think you're separate from this guy. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks. Oh my. What if he just wanted a kind word? And did I think that I was incapable of handling it if he wanted a solicitation? He didn't look like a criminal or anything. But even if he did, would that be an excuse for me to treat another human being less than respectfully, less than humanly? I had an experience years ago, excuse me a second, I need a little bit of water. I had an experience several years ago in San Francisco where I was walking early one morning down the Haight-Ashbury before a lot of the stores opened up. And I had been on that particular trip for about a couple of weeks, and I had encountered a lot of homeless people. And I was getting really uncomfortable because I was running out of money and I didn't know what to do. Anyway, I didn't think I would run into anybody at this time of the day. So came upon a guy who was sitting on a curb. Obviously, he had probably slept there. I mean, he hadn't really stirred much. But as I crossed the street, I looked directly at him and I said, "Good morning." And he looked up at me with this beautiful smile and he said, "Good morning." And that was the total exchange, but I realized something in that moment. That when I treat other people as I treat anybody that I know and care about, even if I don't know them and care about them, maybe it's just all they needed was to be treated like another human being, just to be treated like a friend. So I want to end with this one last story. This was told to me by a Unity teacher. By the way, Dale Worley said hi to Unity Church. Those who remember Dale. I went to his service twice while I was in Spain. But this story was told to me by a Unity teacher, and I see it so well in my mind when I review it that I just wanted to share it. So there's this retired couple that are driving along on this windy mountain road, and they've been kind of turning, and at one point they missed the curve and went over the bluff. And immediately they both started praying because the car was falling freely, and they both started praying for the highest and best. They didn't know what to ask for, and it didn't take very long to get that prayer out either. And they both closed their eyes. And when they opened their eyes, when the car stopped, they had landed on a beaver dam. The car was not damaged. I don't know how they got it off the dam. I didn't hear that part. But neither of them had a scratch on them. And I thought, what an amazing story. That they could be so fearless that they just allow whatever's for the highest and the best to be what they invite into their space at this moment in time. So I'm going to ask if you would once again close your eyes and just go into your own interior space and feel the heart. Feel how your heart feels in this moment, and allow the spaciousness of expansion of the heart. And reflect in your mind the awareness that this heart belongs to Christ consciousness. That this heart beats by grace. And that I am a human being here by grace. And I can affect my moments by staying connected to that immense power and strength. Because I can do all things through Christ who strengtheneth me. And with a breath, come back into the presence of this moment. And stay.
Thank you, Wanda. Wow, that was wonderful. So So maybe all of us need to take a trip to Savannah, Georgia, fix our fears. But it's amazing how you can just learn so many things when you're open to that, when you really pay attention to what you're experiencing, allow yourself to experience that, go through it, and there's so many things that you can learn. Wonderful, thank you.
Okay, Rick. Well, we're going to go ahead and stand up and sing another song. It's actually in the red book in front of you. The name of the song is 118. The words will also be up here. 118 or on the wall. And if he squeals with laughter, he actually liked this song when we were practicing. So. God speaks to me in accents sweet and tender. His promise comes through life to be my guide. In pastures green and pleasant paths to lead me, with rest and shade, the quiet streams beside. Thanks be to thee, O ever-loving Father, for all my wants thou dost for I provide. God speaks to me, His voice so gladly listen. That is our call to tread the shadow veil. I'll fear no ill, His rod and staff sufficient to cope with foes, no matter what assail. Thanks be to thee, O ever-loving Father, with thee to bless, I must and shall prevail. God speaks to me, oh let me gladly listen to words that cheer me all along life's way. His healing balm assuages every sorrow. My cup overflows with mercies new each day. Thanks be to thee, O ever-loving Father. Warm in thy house, I'll dwell in love always. You may have a seat. Let me sing this one, And this is a Daniel David song, Grace. That's always good. Finally, I rest. No more guessing where I'm going. Finally, I trust that the windows won't blow me. You created heaven and earth long before my birth. The entire Thank you.
So Wanda, Gail, this is how we create this sweet atmosphere by having sweet little baby boys here.
And by singing songs that match the message, even if you didn't
Yes.
ask for one.
Holding every child in your hands.
This is now our time for our offering. And let us say together. The
inexhaustible resource of spirit is equal to every demand. There is no reality in life. Abundance is here and now and best. I give because I believe in love. I give because I believe in love. I give because I believe in love, and love is given to me. I give because I believe in joy. I give because I believe in joy. I give because I believe in joy, and joy is given to me.
And let's have our prayer.
Divine
love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Lovingly I give, and lovingly I receive.
Again, I want to welcome everyone here. If you're here for the first time, we're so happy to have you, and please come visit us again. If you would like more information about Unity and the teachings, you can come upstairs, and we have a library, and we would love to speak with you some more. Do we have any announcements?
Next week, the 20th, is our annual business meeting, membership business meeting. So not a community meeting, not a potluck, but our business meeting, and it will come right after the church service. And this is where you get an annual update. You'll see, where we are financially, what we've done in the past year, and we will be selecting some new board members, and you'll get that information. So just keep that in mind. It shouldn't last more than 30 minutes, maybe not quite that long, but it's really important to have as many members here as possible.
Anybody else have any announcements?
And just a youth group on Thursdays from 6:30 to 7:30. If you want to come, you don't have to be a member of Unity to come. Youth, they're just looking for a safe place. It's a smaller group. We have really open forum discussions and games and food. Always food. They're teenagers. So we do that every Thursday night upstairs from 6:30 to 7:30. So 10 and up. Food is provided.
I just happen to think anybody who's here for Course in Miracles are going to have a potluck on Wednesday night. So the class starts at 6:15, runs through 7:45. So it'll be in the newsletter, but you might not see it quick enough.
Our peace song.
Peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God
in my mind, I'm gonna be imagining Wanda Gail going out in the streets of the
Light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God.